Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning, the 2 days before 4th of July. But I've noticed around my area there's a lot of fireworks going off already, especially we have a lot of lakes in the area that they gather everything together, and everyone that lives on these lakes, and they have these great big fireworks displays. So there's last night we had some, and then of course we have a few people around us that actually set off fireworks. So that's what I kind of want to talk about today, is how you can help keep your pets a little bit more calm, your dogs in particular, your horses. If you've got them in the barn, that's great. If you don't, hopefully your animals will do very well. If not, bring them into a smaller area where you can keep track of them, and so they don't end up running through a fence. But mostly this is going to be about your dog. Cats aren't usually too bad. They usually find a place to go hide for a while. That's the one thing about cats. So my name is Diana Hinkle, and thank you so much for joining me today with this continuing education on using essential oils. My journey started with essential oils a few years back that I was so amazed at what they could do that I'm like, okay, I need to let people know more about these. People need education. And so that is something that I've truly been passionate about, is the education and being able to teach people something. I left a 30-year dental career to pursue this as a career, and this is the only thing I do besides watch grandkids, which I'm doing today. But she gets to go sit at the Department of Licensing with me later. Woohoo! I hope he can do it. And anyway, so I have my grandkids, and I have 9, by the way, and they all know that I have my medicine. My medicine is my essential oils. I so love what they've been able to do for me, and the journey that they've created for me, and the changes they've made to my entire family. And it's wonderful to be able to have something for anything. So whatever comes my way, I can be prepared, right? Because a lot of that is being prepared instead of waiting until something happens, or waiting until you're sick or something, and then you go get something. It's like, no, I'd rather have something when I know I'm starting to come down with something. And those first signs of, okay, the tickle in my throat or whatever is happening, I could actually work with that, right? So let's talk about the 4th of July. Let's talk about the dogs in particular. And first off, though, I want to let you know that I use doTERRA essential oils because I know that they're safe, they're pure, they say what they say. Whatever they say on the bottle, I know that's what is in the bottle. Just because an essential oil says 100% pure on the label does not mean that's exactly what you're getting. So please research what you have, research where it comes from. I know that doTERRA's, the integrity of the product and the product matter is very, very important to them. And so that's important to me because I want to make sure that I'm getting the best. I want to make sure that I'm getting what I think I'm getting. And there's no doubt in my mind. It tells me on the bottle, if the label says there's a supplement fact and it says that I can consume it and put it in a drop of water or a drop in water, then I know I don't have any doubt that I can consume it because it meets the FDA standards of that. And I don't know why my phone went off, but it meets the FDA standard of meeting the GRAS standard, which is generally regarded as safe. And so for us, it's very good to be able to have something that is at your convenience, and also have what you know will be safe. And that's the important part. I want to make sure that it's safe. So doTERRA goes all around the globe looking for plant material for the essential oils. They don't grow any of their own products, and they help sustain people in their livelihood and their villages And developing countries, and let me see why I am on my phone. So there's someone there, but I don't know who. Okay. But knowing that it's important to me. It's important to me that we are very, that the integrity of the product is there. And I don't know who, okay, can you hear me very well? And I'm going to, okay. Okay. Okay, now I know what the problem was. Okay, you might be able to hear me better now. I don't know why it was in on my phone. Anyway, so the integrity of the plant matter is important because where it's sourced and the sourcing is important because sourcing is what gives us the integrity of product. And it's going to be consistent in potency and consistent in how we feel, because it's going to be the same no matter what, no matter when we purchase. So let's talk a little bit more about how you can use essential oils on your dogs. There's a lot of different ways. Diffusing is a really good way. And diffusing, what is that? Diffusing is either like on a cotton ball or a shoestring or something that you can put a drop of your essential oil on and they can smell, especially if they're like locked up in a crate. That's really good. Or even an empty bottle with the lid off, okay? Don't have oils in it because they can smell. Their sense of smell is pretty good. It's way better than ours. And so smelling and the diffuser itself, like if you're at home, you can use, there's many different types of diffusers. I don't have one here to show you, but it's an ultrasonic diffuser. So and it's got water in it, and you put a drop or two of your essential oil. And lavender is really good for calming. And that's probably the #1 for calming. There are some blends that have lavender in it, like for doTERRA, they have a blend that is called Serenity that has lavender in there. And I found that my horses like that better than just lavender itself. And so diffusing is a really good way in your home to help bring in that calmness in the house, okay? Because they're breathing in the air, but it's not direct contact. And you really don't want direct, you don't want to put it right on their nose, okay? That's something you don't want to do. So if you're putting it on, like for topical application, there's ways you can put it on a collar, you can put it on a bandana around their neck, something that's removable later so that when you don't want it, it's not there, okay? So that's something you want to keep in mind, because that's important that you're able to take it away later, because lavender acts like a sedative, okay? That's the compounds within that specific product that is very calming. And even to horses, I know people that have done that with horses, and they put it directly in their nostril, and it's like it's a downer for them. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go over here and just nap for a while, and they do. So be very mindful that they are very sensitive to their smell. Our nose is not meant, we smell, but their nose, the dog, the horse in particular, a cat, their nose is highly more sensitive than ours. Okay. Now, so those are good ways. Another way too, I know a lot of people do, is they turn the radio up when you're gone. So if you're going to be gone away from the house, use your calming oil like the lavender, and make sure that it's available to them in the area where they're at, okay? So it doesn't have to be right next to them for them to be able to smell that, especially if it's that empty bottle, right? So turn the volume up so that they can't hear the noise outside, because usually it's the noise. It's like If you live in a place that has a lot of thunder and lightning, they're probably not so bad with that. But in an area like me in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have that very often. We do, but occasionally. But it's not enough. I mean, my dogs kind of go haywire a little bit. They get upset when they hear a gunshot here and there. Because I live in the rural country. You can see my elk hide, half of it in the background there. And so there are hunters around here, and there's people that target practice. Okay, and so when that happens, they're like, "Oh, Mom, save me!" Okay, so let's talk about. I did put in the chat. There are some specific essential oils not to use with dogs. Melaleuca is number one, or they call it tea tree oil. Wintergreen, deep blue, or doTERRA calls it the soothing blend. Those are ones that you want to stray away from using on your dog. You always want to use caution if you're ever using hotter oils like your clove, oregano, cassia, cinnamon, rosemary, thyme. All those should be diluted with a carrier oil. Okay. Now, what's a dilution ratio? That's something to think about. So let me give you an idea. So a carrier oil in itself is like fractionated coconut oil. That's not the solid stuff. It's a liquid, okay? They've taken the solid out of it. So molecules of that are very small, and they soak into the skin very quickly. You have other carrier oils you can use, but their molecules are just a little bit bigger, so it doesn't soak into the skin very well. When you look at like vegetable oil, olive oil, things like that, avocado oil, all those have a little bit more bigger molecules, and they don't soak into the skin. They make you feel a little greasy. And I'm sure you probably, if you've done a little bit of cooking here and there, you'll know that that leaves a greasy residue. So, and fractionated coconut oil is our choice too, because that it soaks into the skin really quickly. It has no fragrance to it. And so we smell the fragrance of the essential oil. So puppies and cats that are like 8 weeks and under, you would want to use 250 drops of your carrier oil to about 2 drops of your essential oil, or divide that in half, 125 drops to 1 drop of your essential oil. So when you look at that, that's just a little over a tablespoon, I believe. I'd have to go look it up again. I don't remember, but if you figure that out, about a tablespoon. If they're under 20 pounds, same thing, 85 to 100 drops, and to 1 drop of essential oil. And then you dogs over that 12 pounds would be half that, about 50 drops of your carrier oil and 1 drop of essential oil. Now for you, if you're ever using a hot oil, now we're not talking about those specific ones, but if you ever do use them for whatever reason, actually use about 100 drops of your carrier oil to 1 drop. So when I say all this, if you think about that, 100 drops of your carrier oil to 1 drop of your essential oil, that's a very pure, potent product, right? Because it goes a long way. So it's very economical. It's safe for one, but it's economical, and you're saving yourself money in the long run. Especially if you know what these oils will help in when you're using them on your pets. Cats are a little more finicky. We're not going to go there today because I didn't want to talk about cats so much, because there's a lot more involvement as far as cats go, because cats cannot metabolize your essential oils like other animals, okay? And so that's something to really keep in mind. Diffusing is usually the safest way at this point. I will say diffusing is the safest way to diffuse or get for your cat. Stay away from the same oils as for a dog, okay? But there's a few more, and I'm not going to get into that right now, because I do want to talk more about your dog, because I find it really hard for people to understand, what you can do for your animals. And I love it when I can give something to someone or give them a suggestion and they do use the product, and within a matter of a minute or two, they have an animal that's entirely different than what they were a couple minutes back. I have a dog that actually has seizures here and there, don't know why. And he just out of the blue, a few years back, started having seizures. No reasoning, nothing, until I'm like, he was really weird, acting weird, and couldn't walk. And I was like, what the heck? And realized that he was having a seizure. And so I, knowing what to reach for, which in this case was frankincense. Frankincense is the best essential oil you can get for neurological problems. And I just simply grabbed him, had my husband reach for the frankincense, and I put a little bit on his tummy, and then I put a little bit on my finger and put it in his mouth, because he's a little dog. He's like, well, he's a Chihuahua, but he's a little bit fatter than he should be. He's like 25 pounds, maybe more. I don't know. I haven't weighed him lately. So anyway, and I'll tell you, within 5 minutes, that dog totally surprised me, because this dog couldn't walk. And then all of a sudden, he's like bouncing up and down, yippee, yippee, yippee. And I'm like, really? But that's not the first time I've seen that. I had another dog do the same thing, an older dog, and this was an Aussie mix. And every time she'd have a stroke, I give her frankincense by mouth. And it was like, I mean, one day it's like, okay, you can go, you're older. I know, it's okay, you can go, I'm good with this, right? And a couple days later, she bounced right back, because I kept doing the frankincense on her every day, a couple times a day. And it's like, okay. So you never know what will happen or what the benefits that you're going to get with these oils, outside of the fact they do work. And I'm so grateful. Many times I'm grateful that I have what I have. I've used this on my chickens, my horses, my dogs, my cats. I use them on everything. Even baby chicks. But you got to be very careful with this. So like, it's like the 8-week baby, okay, or 8-week-old puppy. Now, I will say, if you have a dog that has medical or health precautions, health conditions, and they're taking medications, please make sure that you're checking with your veterinarian to make sure that whatever you're using is not going to be something to affect the medication, okay? Typically, that is not going to happen, but always, always let your veterinarian know what you're wanting to do, okay? If you do your research, help them out by doing the research, give the research to them, and then if they need to do some research, that saves time for them, because they're usually pretty busy. And I'll tell you, I actually had an emergency here a month ago. I called 20 different veterinarians, and not one of them could come out and help me, I was like totally amazed that didn't happen. Now, I was with a horse, and so of course you have to have someone that will actually treat large animals, but 20 different veterinarians. I got nice advice over the phone, but not one could come out and actually help us. And so we actually lost a mare and a foal, because she was she was in labor and couldn't have her foal. So eventually we ended up losing her, and both of them. So that's hard. I can't do anything about that. My essential oils are not going to treat that. They're not going to hurt. It's not going to help that, unfortunately. But the trailer ride that took us 3 hours, I put lavender on her to keep her calm. So there, I was thankful that I at least had something that I could use. So back to medical conditions. If your pet is epileptic or has seizures, please avoid basil, camphor, eucalyptus, fennel, rosemary, sage, wintergreen, and any blend that contains those essential oils. If your pet has a blood disorder or clotting disorder, avoid wintergreen and blue tansy, birch, cassia, cinnamon, clove, fennel, marjoram, oregano, patchouli, and thyme. So I'll go through those again. If you have a pet that has clotting or bleeding disorder or an anticoagulant, avoid wintergreen, blue tansy, birch, cassia, cinnamon, clove, fennel, marjoram, oregano, patchouli, and thyme. Okay. We're not going to go into the birthing because that's a totally different subject. We already went over what oils not to use on them. I did put in the chat all those essential oils not to use or to avoid, and the ones to use to carry your oil with, the hot oils. And I also put a recipe up on the chat for a dry shampoo. Now it does more than that. So a lot of you like to go on trips. You might be camping, whatever. Your dog gets dirty. I mean, soap and water does good, or your shampoo and water. But what can you do in the meantime? If you make a dry shampoo, you can take it anywhere you go, and you don't need the water. And so the dry shampoo actually helps in repelling ticks and fleas, and then, you know, because they're in the grass everywhere. And if you're out in the woods, the last thing you want is a tick on your animal. If that does ever happen, if you have a tick, you can actually use peppermint oil and put that on right on top of the tick, and they will back out of there. Don't use anything else. And it's amazing. They will just, they're gone, because it suffocates them. They have to come out. So that's a really awesome way. That's my biggest tip for the day. If you're out in the woods, you end up with a tick on your animal, your dog, use peppermint oil. It's great. It works every time. I don't know anybody that it hasn't worked with. So that recipe for the dry shampoo, if you happen to have a lighter colored dog, don't use the cocoa powder. So only use the cocoa powder if you're a darker haired dog. Okay. And the same with you. You can make dry shampoos for you too. It's safe for everybody. And arrowroot powder is really good for making your dry shampoos with. And you can use different colors. So like if you, redheads, you don't want to exactly use cocoa powder, do you? Because, yeah, you're a redhead. And I wouldn't want to use a really dark cocoa powder either. So think about the differences that you are using. And if you're using a litter box for your cat, this is another little tip, is you can actually put baking soda and put an essential oil in there, like 4 to 5 drops of your essential oil, like lavender, geranium, maybe even eucalyptus, and put that in your litter box. It won't smell so bad. It'll actually smell pretty good. And it will not affect your cat, okay? Okay. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit, helping keeping your pets a little calmer during the 4th of July, during those nice big kabooms. And remember that their sense of smell is better than ours. Make sure that you're, keep all the windows closed, even though it may be warm. Keep your windows closed, because that'll help in the noise, right? If you have curtains, something that where you can black out the curtains, that's another helpful idea. And then also create some kind of noise for them to drown out the noise from outside, okay? And if you're using your essential oils, lavender is usually the best, and go from there, okay? There are a lot of other oils that are calming. Frankincense could be another one, but usually you don't find animals that want to be close to frankincense. And but you can put them in the crate, like I said, put it on cotton ball, and put it to the back side of their crate, not to the front side. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to wrap this up. And I hope you guys have a great week. I know that this is going to be a very busy week for me. I have an event on Wednesday that's going to be all day, but it should be fun. And I leave next weekend for a trip. I'm looking forward to that. And you guys have a wonderful, safe, happy 4th of July, and be safe with your animals. And you guys take care. Thanks.